Jumping straight back into it, we're going over Ava's account setup. How are we going to set up our OnlyFans so it's optimized so she can get to 100K a month when chatting's set up, when she's got the creative ideas and her marketing is in full swing. In this video, we're going to be going over the pricing structure. Free versus paid pages. What does that mean? We're going to be going over what profile picture, banner, and bio Ava should be using. We're going to be going over her pinned posts and what content she should be posting on the wall, as well as what welcome message Ava should be using. We're then going to be going into tracking links and lists and how we would optimize them in Ava's situation. And then finally, we're going to be going over the vault organization. So jumping into pricing strategy. In this part of the video, we're going to be breaking down the positives and the negatives of free pages, paid pages, and using free trial links. Jumping into free pages. Now, when you're setting up an OnlyFans profile, there's many benefits to making it free, especially if you're just starting out, because it allows the barrier to entry to be dropped, meaning that more fans are naturally going to come to your page, which means more people to speak to, which as a byproduct most likely means more sales. Where this theory falls down is the fact that the people coming to your page potentially might be time wasters, potentially might not be there to actually spend, hoping that they can get a freebie or potentially just speak to you because the page is free. Now, when looking at paid pages, there's also many positives, but also some negatives, because the barrier to entry has been increased, meaning that they have to pay to be able to speak to you or even see some of your content on the wall. But the negatives are that potentially there might not be that many people coming to the page because they have to pay before they've even seen your content. So there's positives and negatives to both, but I would definitely look and understand what type of creator are you trying to market. Now, in this case, Ava is just starting out. So we want more people to come to the page, meaning that we are going to be using the free page structure to ensure that our team, or Ava in this case, has more people to chat to, meaning that she can get a gist of exactly what to do and what not to do, what her fans like and don't like, and therefore act accordingly. Now, lastly on the list, you have free trial links. Now, we've seen a huge rise across the agency and creator space for using free trial links. And the reason is because it has that low barrier to entry, but then after 7 days, prompts the subscriber to spend $3 or $6 or $9 or whatever that might be on the subscription, meaning you're not losing that subscription revenue and you're giving the fans a chance to speak to you, build a relationship with yourself and turn that rebill on, as well as potentially spending $20 or $100 on you during that time period. So in this case, I would pick Ava and use a free trial link across the board for around a $9 subscription price and have that on for around 7 days. And the reason behind that is because you're still getting fans to the page in the early stages. You're understanding what your audience likes around your content, as well as hopefully getting a subscription price. Please bear in mind, when doing this, you need to train your chatters on the back end because the traffic is going to be a lot higher than if you did have that barrier to entry. So, jumping straight into profile picture, banner, and bio. Now, this is easy to get right, but just as easy to get wrong. Your profile picture, what does this need to be? Just make it simple, make it relate to your niche, and make it clear so when the subscribers are coming over from Instagram or whatever social media platform that you're running, they can see directly a correlation between the two. You want to take the same approach for your banner. You want to keep it on brand. Example being, if you're a transgender creator, ensure that that is shown on the profile picture and banner. So you're increasing the chance of them subscribing because you're relating your social media content to your landing page, which is ultimately going to help you increase conversions. But with these two, just make it clean, HD, precise, and you'll be absolutely fine. Finally, jumping onto the bio, again, keep this clean. You don't want a list of a whole catalog of one-to-one sexting, sex tapes, BG content, boy content, girl content, everything that you offer. You want to keep the fantasy alive. Keep it short, keep it simple, and make sure it relates to your brand. Again, these are not musts, but they're little points that are going to ensure that when the subscriber comes over from your social media platform, that they're going straight in and they are subscribing, which is going to help you increase conversions, have more subscribers on your page, and ensure that you've got more people to chat to. Now jumping into wall content and pin posts. Now, again, very simple, similar to your profile picture, your banner and your bio. Simplicity is key. We're going to be going over the wall content, the pin posts and the previews, and why all three of these are just as important. So your wall content, when posted on the wall, keep it PG for the most part. In Ava's case, we're going to keep it PG. We're not going to have sex tapes on the wall or even topless pictures. We want to keep everything PG and angle everything to push people over to the chats. We want the money to be generated in the chats. We don't want people, especially given we're using a free trial link, to be seeing free content on the wall. We want people engaging in the chat. So every wall post that we do is going to have a call to action to push people over to the chats. It's not going to be the same piece of wall content every single post, or the same background in a different pose or different outfit. We're going to mix it up. There might be some content in the gym. There might be some content out and about, her in her car, whatever that might be. But we want to keep everything different, keep the wall content engaging, and push people over to the chats. Second on the list, pinned posts. Now, this is something that your fans, when they come onto the page, are gonna see first. So you want these engaging. You could even have stuff on there like, turn rebill on and I'll send you a free picture with a link for them to turn rebill on. These are little things that we do to ensure that the first pictures they're seeing not only get them to turn their rebill on, but also push them over to the chats, because that's where we're gonna make our money. So when looking at your wall content and your pin posts, ensure that all of your wall content is engaging. But those 3 or 4 pin posts need to be perfect. Need to have a call to action, ensuring people are going over to the chats. And like I say, get creative with it. Have something in there for them to turn their rebill on. Offer them a free picture if they guess your favorite number between 1 and 5, or if they message you your favorite sex position in the chats. Ensure that people are converting over and they're not just coming there and then leaving your page after they've seen it. Then finally, you need to be looking at previews. Now, previews are a thing that you can turn on in the OnlyFans settings. So before a fan has even subscribed to your page, they can see your latest wall posts, and more importantly, your pin posts. So if the captions are engaging, they're more likely to subscribe. If they are on brand, they're more likely to subscribe. If they allude to the fact that potentially in your chats, you do boy-girl content or some solo content or something more extreme, you're playing into the fantasy, and again, you're going to increase your profile conversions. So when looking at all of this stuff, you want to ensure that you don't forget about the wall content, the pin posts, or even turning the previews on, because there's such simple fixes and simple changes that you can make to ensure that people are converting over to the chats as well as people converting to your profile. Jumping into the welcome message. Now, with your welcome message, there's 2 ways in which you can do this: a transactional welcome message or an engagement welcome message. Now, both of these depend very much on what creator's page you're working on, how much traffic's coming in, what type of creator are they. When determining these 2 things, you need to understand this, because otherwise you'll get these wrong. This is the first thing that fans are going to see when they come on the page. So this needs to be spot on. Now, breaking a transactional welcome message down. This could be a PPB with a short bit of text hinting at the idea that they need to buy that content to be able to speak to you, or purchase a really good piece of selling content that's from your vault or that you've pre-recorded. Now, if you are using a transactional welcome message, I would use these on high traffic pages and hint these towards the almost more transactional creators, potentially your porn stars or your transgender creators, for example. Now, as well as that, I would be adding a preview. You don't want a welcome message with no preview, because ultimately, if it has a preview, the conversions are going to be higher. And you almost want to use this to engage them. Almost don't have the transactional welcome message as a poor performing piece of content, because if it is, the likelihood of them buying more content is very slim. Now, moving on to the engagement welcome message. Now, an engagement welcome message I would use on potentially a creator who's more of an influencer or more of a girl next door, or you're using a girlfriend experience style of chatting. And the reason behind that is because you don't want them assuming that potentially a boy-girl piece of content sells for $10 in your transactional welcome message. You want an engagement message that potentially has a cute picture of you, and essentially that will be like, guess my favorite sex position, or guess my favorite number between 1 and 5 and I'll send you a free piece of content, or whatever that might be. You want to do that so that it's engaging them to continue chatting with you on the back end. In the next part of how to set up Ava's page, we're going to be going over the tracking links and lists. In this part of the video, we're going to be breaking down smart lists, the time the fan has been on the page, and the traffic source in which the fan has actually come from. So, jumping into smart lists. Now, smart lists are a feature used commonly across pretty much all CRMs, but in this case, we are going to be using Inflow. Now, smart lists are a way to categorize fans by spending. In this case, we have Ava, and we're going to be categorizing low spenders, medium spenders, high spenders, and whales. Now, The reason we do that is because each spend has a different category, meaning when we're sending out PPVs, when we're sending out mass messages, we're going to be sending them to different groups of fans. An example being, if you're sending out a piece of PPV content and that's going to low spenders, the price of that content needs to be a lot cheaper than if that PPV perhaps is going out to a high spender. You don't want to send the content out to a high spender that perhaps a low spender would buy, because then you're devaluing your content, meaning that that fan is going to perceive that piece of content with that amount. And when you go to try and sell them or upsell them to a higher price in the future, they are not going to buy. Now, moving on to the time on the page. Now, this is something you could also do with smart lists. So we actually set it so that when a fan comes on the page, they're grouped by a smart list in that they have subscribed within the last 7 days. Now, the reason we do that is because ultimately we do not want to be sending those fans a low piece of content, because the likelihood is in the first 7 days, they will be a low to medium spender. So we want to almost avoid and exclude those fans from being sent that content, even though they will fall into the low spending or medium spending smart list. So when sending out PPVs, you need to have 2 things set on your smart list: the amount in which they're spending or have spent during that time period, and how long the fan has been on the page, because ultimately fans will spend the most money they're going to spend within the first month. So you want to segment your fans on how long they've been in the page and how much they've spent. And if you do this well, PPVs at a low price won't be spent to potential whales, and low spending fans will get sent PPVs, which is ultimately going to increase the LTV of your page. Now, finally, you want to segment lists through tracking links by tracking source. Now, the reason we do this is because you want your traffic source to relate to what pieces of content they're getting sent as well. Because if you've got a creator like Ava, who's posting topless pictures on Reddit, but then on Instagram, she's coming across as this influencer who would perhaps never show her boobs online. You want to engage with those fans very differently. Perhaps they get a different welcome message, or perhaps they get engaged with differently from the get-go. So when grouping fans, you want to ensure that your smart lists are set to low, medium, high spenders and whales. And again, group this depending on how much the page makes. You want to also group smart lists by 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, and 28 days. So again, you can allocate PPVs accordingly. And finally, you want your tracking links to link up with a list that determines which traffic source they have come from. Like I said, if a fan has come from Reddit and they've already seen a picture of the creator's boobs, they're going to be a lot less likely to want to pay for a picture of those creators' boobs. Whereas if they've come from Instagram, they're much more likely to want to unlock that piece of content, meaning the sales cycle can start a lot lower down the funnel. So please remember this when looking at tracking links and lists. Last but not least, the vault organization. In this, we're going to be going over the categories, how to actually categorize the content into the correct sections in the vault. We're going to be going over how categorizing the vault and speeds up your replies. And we're going to be going over the overall efficiency of having a correct organized vault. So the categories. When setting up a creator's page, pick 10 or 15, however that might be, key categories that align with the creator's content. This could be topless pictures, anal content, boy-girl sex tapes, whatever that might be. You want to align it with the creator's brand. You then want to take the content and place it into the correct categories. Now, the reason behind this is because, as we all know, OnlyFans isn't the fastest of platforms, meaning that if the content is correctly categorized, you're going to be able to have your chat team or yourself reply to the messages a lot faster, because there's going to be no delay. You're going to be able to see exactly what content the creator sells, go into those categories and select that content straight away, ensuring that you're going to have faster replies, which as a byproduct is going to improve the overall efficiency of your chatting operation. If you can get content out quicker, the fans are going to purchase the content quicker, they're going to be hornier, they're not going to come, and ultimately, therefore, they're going to sell the content. It also allows you to be more efficient, because the quicker you get content out, the more content you can send to other people. If you're spent 5 minutes, 10 minutes scrolling through the vault trying to find that piece of anal content, you're going to be leaving other fans on read, meaning you're not going to be selling to them. So organizing the vault is a key part that's always missed by a lot of teams, but ultimately it's one of the crucial steps we always take when onboarding a creator to ensure that our chat team or the creator themselves can see exactly what content we're selling, and it can improve the overall efficiency of the operation. So there we have it. Ava's page is set up. We're now ready to continue the 100K creator project. She's set up her pricing. Her page is completely set up with the tracking links, the vault organization, the welcome message, the pin post, and everything that we need to to ensure that Ava is set up and the foundations are laid for her to achieve this 100K creator project. Now, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.